Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video where today we return with round 19 of season 3 of the F124 driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, ready for the Mexican Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Singapore, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We had a decent race, it was a nice recovery, a good return to form after what has been a torrid start to the second half of the campaign, but weirdly, obviously because you basically get a 1 month break inside F124 between Singapore and Mexico, a lot has changed in terms of the vehicle performance. Staggeringly, Haas are currently now our biggest rival in terms of performance. They brought a huge wave of upgrades in recent weekends. I can only assume they kind of stacked up some time and then have absolutely spent all of their R&D. So they are now, our biggest threat as we head in towards the final few rounds of the campaign. So could we see Haas genuinely win a race before the end of the year? Without my help? Only time will tell. Of course, if you're new, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed to the channel as well. We are trying to hit 140,000 subscribers at the moment. Take a look at the championship, 6 rounds to go. We are still 131 points back behind Charles Leclerc. He basically just needs to win this race, and then I think I'm all but mathematically out of the championship fight. There is only 28 points though between myself and Max Verstappen, so especially with the way Red Bull's performance is looking right now, we might still be able to get back to him before the end of the year as well. So let's do this thing though. Let's head out onto the Mexican Grand Prix circuit, and fingers crossed we can try and have another good weekend.
It may only be Friday practice, but the Forest Sol is quickly filling up. A very warm welcome to the buzzing metropolis that is Mexico City.
But as we head back out then here to Mexico City, I'm going to say what I always say. If Formula 1, if Cody's EA need to fix one track, they need to try and get a rescan of Mexico. Admittedly, it might not be on the calendar much longer if Sergio Perez gets dropped pretty soon. I don't think Mexico would stick around if Sergio's not in Formula 1 anymore. But yeah, this track is just so inaccurate to how it looks in real life, especially the middle sector. I also wish as well that they kind of fix the... Because, what makes Mexico interesting as a Grand Prix is obviously the fact it's really high altitude. So in real life, they run super high downforce here, but that doesn't really come through inside the game. You run fairly normal wing settings around this track, so you don't even really kind of get to experience that little bit of nuance as well, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, this is the section of corners that is completely wrong, so hopefully we see a fix to that soon. But I guess we kind of got to deal with what we've got. As we round our way then through the final couple of corners, then it is still going to be a green score here. I don't think we're quite going to be able to get purple. Not a bad way to start the weekend though. While coming towards the end then of our qualifying simulation run, I guess it would make sense then as to why Haas was so good last time out in Singapore as well. Admittedly, they brought more upgrades since then, but as we try and finish off our qualifying run, they're really struggling to put the power down. We're going to miss out on the score whatsoever. That doesn't give me much confidence as we head into qualifying.
This is a special place to go motor racing. We have the Forest Sol. The track is warming up nicely, and it is nearly time to set the grid for tomorrow's Grand Prix. What an atmosphere we have in Mexico City.
Well, Haas might now have the second best car in Formula 1, but Max Verstappen still absolutely loves this circuit. Of course, has taken many a pole position around here, and even more Grand Prix victories in the years gone by. I'm sure he'd love to try and rack up another one this weekend. Yes, the Red Bull's car in raw pace now is starting just to drop away. I can only assume they're also focusing now fully on next year. Max Verstappen, he's not a driver that wants to finish second. If he doesn't believe he's got a world title this year, I'm sure he'll just basically go, I'd rather try and win it next year. Once again there, and yeah, you can see after 5 world titles in a row for the Dutchman, 5 really does seem to be the limit still in Formula 1 before another driver swoops in and will steal one away there. As Gasly and Hulkenberg currently down in the drop zone. I mean, we're probably going to be watching Haas like a hawk in these last few races. If their performance is real, I wouldn't be opposed to going back if they sent me a good enough offer. We could be tempted to make the move back to our first ever F1 team. As we go purple through the middle sector though here in Q2. Just got to try and keep the car planted through the Forest Sol. Apparently it's getting resurfaced ready for the F1 at the end of the year. which would be interesting to see if that changes things up at all. At the final corner, put the power down up towards the line. It's going to be a 1:13.9. We go top of the board. That's exactly what I need. Well, there we go then. We hype up Haas, and in the most Haas way possible, they end up 13th and 14th on the grid here. I don't really know how. I mean, yeah, this track is quite an interesting one. It certainly is going to test some different characteristics of each of the cars. Oscar Piastri out in Q2 as well there, but Albon again makes Q3 in his Williams. No other real shocks though, I guess. I mean, Red Bull looking pretty close. Alonso's looking fast. Maybe he could be in the fight for pole. Well, I was trying to rack my brains earlier on. I think we have. I think we've taken back-to-back pole positions at some point this year, but I just can't remember where exactly. We haven't had that many though. Like I said, I would be interested to see what our qualifying comparison is between us and Charles Leclerc, because both of us, to be fair, have had a couple of pretty dominant pole laps as well over the course of the season. Never forget Belgium at 9/10 of a second was basically the perfect case scenario for us. That was still a very, very fun lap to hook up. Because yeah, we've got a lot of speed through Sector 1. Sector 2 and 3 though, I definitely lose a little bit. 6/10 up on Lewis Hamilton, but what is the time set by our fellow Brit? This has never been a particularly good circuit for him in Formula 1. I mean, he's done a 1:14.1, so times are definitely ramping up as the grid continues to rise around this circuit. At the final corner, shortest run back towards the line. 13.6. Again, we go fastest, but look at that. Verstappen, he has saved fuel right to the end. Saved his pace, sorry. He's in the fight. Well, Max Verstappen is currently less than 1/10 of a second away from me here as we head out for our third and final run. But I tell you what, I'm trying to remember, when was the last time the Dutchman got pole in this series? He's been able to snook away a few wins, his last one, of course, coming at home at Zandvoort.
30 seconds left in the session.
But apart from that, I'm trying to think. Obviously, he didn't even get pole there, did he? He ended up lining up P3 on the grid, but got the jump on both Ferraris pretty early on. Could the Red Bull driver, though, spring a surprise on a track that should suit their car just a little bit more? Like we said, it is a high downforce circuit. You wouldn't think it based on this first sector, as Leclerc now will slot in between and maybe make it a Ferrari front row lockout. That tells me grip is still increasing here right towards the end of qualifying, as once again we will go purple there. I don't think Verstappen's done it. I think we're on pole once again in this series, but it'd be nice to improve anyway. Well, I know I've said it before, but I really do wish the AI would go out right towards the end of a session as well. You know, when the clock has struck 0, still be on their lap kind of thing a bit more in this game. But yeah, Leclerc, though, has got to be very, very close behind us at the moment. But hopefully we're about to put a bit of breathing room between ourselves and our teammate through the final corner. Use that curbing on the outside up towards the line. Another 2/10 improvement. It's a 1:13.4. It is P1. Well, Leclerc, yeah, really did get close to me at the end of that first run, but it didn't matter come the end of qualifying. We will storm to back-to-back pole positions then late on in the campaign. This time it was only by 1/4 of a second, but if we could try and convert that into a win, you know, maybe the momentum just starting to come back to us. I'm trying to stay in the title fight mathematically for as long as I can, just to be awkward.
Welcome to the most populous city in North America. The legendary Jim Clark won the first official F1 race here in 1963. It's Mexico City, and it's Grand Prix Sunday. 2,285 metres above sea level, the altitude will test the driver's fitness and their engine's efficiency. 17 corners, 7 to the left, 10 to the right, and make up a 2.6-mile circuit equipped with 2 DRS zones. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Firestarter lines up on pole position, Charles Leclerc alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Albon, Stroll, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Norris, Behrman, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Vesti, Ocon, Joe, and Oscar Piastri. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, delighted to say that we're joined today by Anthony Davidson. Well, they're having a better time than their teammates so far this year. How do you keep that momentum going?
Yeah, they have, and it's, you know, rule number 1, beat your teammate. They're the one that share the same equipment as you. And yes, the cars can vary in setup from race to race and depending on who has which style. But essentially, they're your barometer, the yardstick. If you can beat them, that's the first job you have to do. And it looks like it's going their way, doesn't it? And they need to carry on this momentum, this energy through the rest of the season.
We're still in with a chance of winning this title. We need you to push as hard as you can in the 5 remaining races.
Yeah, I think that's optimistic, Mark. I'll be honest with you, but we're going to give it our all right until the bitter end. We start on pole once again. Charles Leclerc has had 5 weeks to sit back and think about that victory we took in Singapore. What could he have done differently to try and give me a fight? But today, though, we got 36 laps around the Mexico City circuit. I'm looking forward to this. I think we could be on for another win today. If we play our cards and our strategy right, it is 5 red lights. And it is lights out and away we go. And if we ever needed to try and get a good start on this game, today would have to be the place there. Both Leclerc and I just trying to squeeze in and cover off from Fernando Alonso there. As you can see, Verstappen and Hamilton as well, trying to get in the squabble down in towards turn 1. The AI almost going 3 wide with me through turn 1. But for the first time in a while, we have gone from pole and we have held the lead down in towards the first corner, though. That isn't going to stay for very long, though, as Leclerc immediately will try and get the run on me up in towards turn 4. He'll try and cover me off. Oh, there is even more contact between us there as we just about will back out of it in the end, but not happy with that. Leclerc got around my outside, and I kind of feel chopped across a little bit in towards the braking zone there. So once more, on lap 1, he will start from P2, but probably be leading the way by the time we get back round to the start-finish line there. But again, just that tension between us rising a little bit more. He knows he made the mistake in Singapore. He knows he needs to try and get a good result under his belt here today. But that's not what we need either, you know. I'm not going to get pushed around. I'm not allowing myself to completely play second fiddle here. I mean, the Constructors is all but wrapped up. The Driver's title is all but wrapped up for Charles Leclerc. I want to fight, and I'm not willing to back out.
This lap, we can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Trying to use a little bit of DRS then, maybe taking by surprise back down towards turn 1. Gaining on our teammate, but not quite close enough that time round. Leclerc trying to break free from me early on in this race, but that's not going to be easy when you've got this huge DRS straight back down towards turn 1. 220 miles an hour there, as I didn't think I'd get alongside him. There is more contact between us, as Leclerc that time round will just damage our front wing slightly.
Okay, be careful with the front wing, you've taken some minor damage.
I mean, look at it, yeah, he's getting very, very aggressive, very, very choppy in his manoeuvres there, as Verstappen just waiting in the wings, sensing opportunities as well. Oh, as you just get a little moment of oversteer again there, that's leave us still side by side as we make our way into the middle sector. Leclerc and I not willing to give each other an inch there, but our teammate will get the power down.
Car ahead, try to get past as quickly as you can. Push.
Oh, this is really sketchy early on. Leclerc and I, we are not friends anymore.
Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Homeboy, we haven't seen much of him this year. Perez already apparently with issues at his home Grand Prix. I'm sure the Mexican fans will not want us to hear that. Well, the other problem we've got almost immediately then in this race is the tyre temperature, as Leclerc again trying to have a look around our outside. Worked for me last time round. Will it work for him there? I wanted to switch him, but the AI always do a really good job of parking it on the apex through there. Can we go the long way around, just like our teammate did 1 lap ago? This is deja vu, but the roles reversed, as again Leclerc tried to just pinch me, and again, we're not going to allow it to happen. I've got to be careful though with those rear tyres, otherwise that could put us in a world of hurt later on. So here comes our teammate again. I mean, he's looking for opportunities absolutely anywhere he can right now. Deep on the brakes around our outside, but again, not able to pull it off. I mean, it is near impossible. We haven't got a chance down the front straight halfway, especially when the tyres, annoyingly, aren't cooling down either. And we're going in a straight line. Surely that's the best opportunity for those rears to just have a bit of a chance to breathe, but apparently not. Leclerc will go back through. Always hate as well the fact that here that the first 2 DRS zones are attached to each other. So Leclerc's obviously got a bit of extra defence as well. It's important that we don't lose sight of him. I mean, this is just the story early on. How many times have we seen it this season? DRS passes lap after lap after lap at the opening stage of a Grand Prix.
Hold us up for too long, so let's try and get past as soon as possible and crack on. Push, push. Yes, mate, we hit the target. Nice work.
Well, we were temporarily ahead of our teammate apparently there, but again, I mean, he's just wanted to throw some very, very aggressive manoeuvres on me right now. Maybe a little bit too confident in his own ability within the teams of Verstappen. Tried again to have a look down the inside there, but will once more think better of it. Leclerc, though, I'm not enjoying this kind of driving coming from our teammate, but I can't really afford to back out and not return it. And again, slipstreaming back down towards someone. We're going to really try and force Charles down to the inside there as he wanted to move across. I think was expecting me to open up the corner a bit more for him than I ever wanted to. As we'll throw the car over the apex curb at turn 2, right across his line. Now we're going to leave him vulnerable to Verstappen as well a little bit further back. But again, I don't really think we're going to be able to break free fully. Well, at the moment then, the rear tyres are still overheating, but they're not getting any worse. So we're kind of just able to sit quite comfortably with them where they're at. Annoyingly though, I think Leclerc this time around, I mean, look at that speed by our teammate. Absolutely thunders back past us in towards turn 1 there. So I've got to be careful not to run into the back of him. But Leclerc, yeah, he's angry. He knows he wants to try and get some wins before the end of the year. I think for him, a bit like we had in Singapore, he doesn't just want to win anymore. He wants to absolutely dominate and humiliate me in this series. So, yeah, it's very, very difficult right now. You know, Ferrari are trying to control two drivers that both think they've got the capabilities to win titles. It looks like it's going to go Leclerc's way this year, unless something crazy happens. But, yeah, I just start to wonder, are we getting Hamilton-Rosberg vibes in this series? Come on, we've got to get the run. And again, Leclerc will just try and move around a little bit. Just, you know, just wait until I'm close enough. Not too close if he can't make the move to defend, but just a bit too close for I have to second guess what he's going to do next. He might not get the opportunity this time round. He'll have to go defensive early. Standing outside at the top of the hill, we'll try and have a look there again. Our teammate can just about slow that car down. And again, the other one I'm worried about is still Verstappen behind. As little snaps of oversteer like that, not useful. And we'll go again then against Charles Leclerc. This time around, you can see we're going to make it very clear we're going to the inside. Not going to stop him trying to pinch me though down as, oh no! Leclerc's hit me! Leclerc's turned in and we were comfortably on the apex there and damage. Contact with our teammate. And is that just as, I mean, as boiling points go, it's not the most extreme we've ever seen. But we're going to have to box in at the end of this lap for a new front wing then, and an early move over to the hard compound tyres to see us through to the checkered flag. But Leclerc, I mean, we were comfortably down the inside. Our teammate could see us there. We had the car stopped into the apex, and Leclerc just decided to turn in anyway, hoping that my car would disappear. I mean, tell me down in the comments below whose fault you think that one was. But yeah, personally, Charles Leclerc, I mean, I was comfortably down the inside. We didn't, you know, we didn't lock up. We didn't overfire it into that apex or anything like that. I think he might have got away with it, though. Either that or he doesn't want to pit early for the front wing damage here. But we're just going to get out of the way. We're going to try and box slightly early, take a new front wing, and just get away from him. I don't want to see him right now. Far too much aggression there early on in the race. And it looks like we might have come off second best in all of that.
On the turn in there, mate. Looks like a nice stop time. We're happy with that one.
Not too sure what's happened to George Russell today to find himself down at the rear of the field either. But I guess he's going to be the first car we try and catch back up with.
On the exit, we'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross onto the track.
This will allow us then just to get a couple of clean, tidy laps under our belt. Maybe undercut back towards the front. But yeah, we are going to be on harder, older tyres to the end of the race. Well, looking on the mini-map then, Charles Leclerc, I think he has got damage right now, because he has dropped away from Verstappen tremendously. I think another one, there you go, George Russell. That's what's happened to him then. He must have picked up front wing damage early on in the day, because that's why he's limping around down in last place there. So we're going to move back up into 19th. You can see though, Leclerc, yeah, is costing everybody else time. You know, that car's still quick, but just not as quick as it normally would be. So Verstappen now running away at the front. We're setting new personal best, though. So even if we couldn't undercut back to Max, we might be able to get ahead of Charles still.
Yellow flag. Okay, mate. Right, that front wing damage is going to hurt us. We've really got to look after it now. Let's put everything into protecting that front wing, please.
Well, there's no front wing damage anymore on the car, but yellow flags out. Sergio Perez, those mechanical gremlins earlier on have got worse for him. And the homeboy, once again, I've seen this on so many F1 games. Perez is cursed here in Mexico, and once again, he is going to be out of his home Grand Prix here. Guess that's one less car for me to overtake. A Ferrari, a Red Bull, and a Merc in the bottom 3 positions, or out of this race. Oh, there we go, Max Verstappen, our leader, into the pit lane then. So it's going to be interesting to see where we come out relative to him. Maybe sending it a little bit too aggressively into the stadium section there, but green sector 1, purple sector 2. We might still get out in a pretty decent spot here as Leclerc, for whatever reason, opting to stay out yet another lap, so that might end up being more damage than it's good for him. And we're ahead of Verstappen, so I think he's been held up in the pit lane then from a few other cars, including Alonso, but we are effectively back up then into the net lead somehow as we get towards half distance, and surely Leclerc won't get the jump on me. I mean, look at the gap on the minimap between Verstappen and Alonso. That is way less than it was.
Car behind, running hard tyres.
Once again, Red Bull finding out just how bad it is to be the first box in the pit lane, because that means that obviously every time you end up in big pit windows like that, you just get held up behind everybody. There we go, Leclerc into the pit lane then, as well as I'm pretty certain every other car in front of us here will be diving in. So we're actually in, a really good spot right now. We got 3 seconds over Max Verstappen there, as I wonder where Leclerc's going to re-emerge in this Grand Prix. Hulkenberg was up into a net P2. But yeah, Verstappen's going to move back up the order. Leclerc, I don't believe, has taken a new front wing though. So he's going to drop a long way behind. So our teammate down to P5. I've barely seen him. Has he even finished off the podium this year? No, he must have done back at Spain. Well, this is where things get really interesting then towards the end of the Grand Prix. We've still got a long way to go, and it looks like we've still got the pace over Max Verstappen right now. But will our tyres just start to fall off towards the end? They're not overheating yet. This is what I wasn't so reluctant to move over to the hards a little bit earlier, as I thought the tyre wear might be a whole lot better. But it is just a question, will Leclerc get to me before... Sorry, will Verstappen even get to me before the end of the race? And if so, could we use him for slipstream to keep the likes of Alonso, Hamilton and Leclerc at bay? Our teammate's pace doesn't look great. I think he's still wounded slightly, but he might be able to get back past Lewis and Fernando. This circuit has been a happy hunting ground for me back on F123. Weirdly though, this year's game, I haven't had much luck at it. Just never quite figured out the setup to avoid overheating the tyres. But if ever there was a car that we were going to be able to push past that, it was always going to be this Ferrari. Could we get our 6th win of the year this weekend? I mean, Verstappen's carved down that gap to under 2 seconds now. But I am just consciously trying to keep him just outside of the DRS range. Leclerc, that gap's going up to our teammate. Not by a lot, but he could end up under pressure from, I think it's Alex Albon, before the end of the race. That could do us wonders in our slim and near impossible championship hopes. Well, 10 laps to go then, and Max Verstappen now is inching closer and closer to being within that DRS detection at the right time there. 1.0 seconds the gap drops down to temporarily. It actually goes down below a second when we put our foot down out of the final corner. Luckily, we can just pull away slightly back down towards turn 1. But I tell you what, this year, the Dutchman, again, he's been very consistent in a car that probably hasn't had the pace to fight, but on the tracks he loves that. The tracks he's strong, he is absolutely still formidable in this series. You know, Zandvoort here, and a couple of others as well. He has been second to none still on his day, but will today be another one? Oh no, I think Verstappen's done it. I think Verstappen now is inside the range. As we make our way out of the final corner, we're about to find out.
11.1 seconds.
As we, Leclerc could still be under pressure from, I think, Lando Norris towards the end of the race. Max, though, he is in the range. Give it another lap, he'll probably be flying past me, but it's whether then we can keep up with him. Well, I mean, we speak so much about trying to beat Leclerc in this series. The man behind me now is actually the one that we do need to be trying to beat week in and week out before the end of the year.
Some of this energy.
I'm sure about to see Verstappen fly past me back down towards turn 1. Not a lot we're going to be able to do against that Red Bull with some DRS as well. There is, here comes Max Verstappen. He hasn't led a race, I don't think, since he took that win at Zandvoort. But he's back to the front of the field today. Red Bull's pace has fallen off towards the end of the year. But if he could get another win for the team, add to his tally, I'm sure none of them would complain. But I guess the big one for us is, can we stick with Verstappen? Can we make his life difficult towards the end of the race? He is on fresher tyres than us, so we should have an advantage between now and the end. You can just see we're getting very, very close to overheating that rear left tyre once more there as Verstappen. Oh, I think he just thought he'd have enough straight line speed down towards turn 1. What is it with the AI today? They just will not give me any room. We were down the inside through turn 2. The Dutchman tries to squeeze me. Don't think we picked up any front wing damage, which I guess is good. As we move back into the lead, Leclerc dropping now down to 6th place. We've got yellows out. Someone towards the rear of the field seems to be breaking down. And I'll be honest, as sad as I am for whoever it is, it's a good sign for us. Yuki Tsunoda.
They're retiring from the race. Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta.
Well, I guess that's good for me, to be honest, because I think Verstappen was about to fly back past me there down towards turn 1. We got a little bit more chance to breathe as Tsunoda out of this Grand Prix. Don't really care about the delta. Let's just go cut back to the racing. In stark contrast to real life 2024, this series, this season, we have only seen 3 winners of Grand Prix. Myself, Charles Leclerc, and of course Max Verstappen. Fernando Alonso, though, with just 4 laps to go, is back at about 3 seconds at bay. He might still be able to challenge towards the end of this. I mean, look at that. Verstappen, we take off the overtake mode because I think I've got enough to cover him off, and immediately he just absolutely rockets past again. I think Alonso can only really close in rapidly, but I'm leading Max Verstappen the other way round. The Dutchman has got the pace against him there, is trying to use our battery sparingly back down towards turn 1, but again, slipstream in the Ferrari versus a Red Bull with none of it. Pretty easy fight for us there. Not around the outside though down at turn 1. Just remembered again what Verstappen did a few laps ago. And once more they're just... No, we're not overheating the rears yet, but they're definitely losing grip. 2 laps to go here from Mexico City, and this one is coming down to the wire.
0.8 seconds.
Shades of the early season. Remember, like the first 6 Grand Prix, every single one came down to a last lap battle, and it looks like we could have the same here as, oh, again, Verstappen just tries to commit there, but I won't back out of it. He's so used to other drivers jumping out of the way for him, but I'm not like every other driver. I will fight and fight for every single point, every single little bit of track space that we can possibly have there, as we'll try and do the odd up and under on him up into the middle sector. That worked out beautifully, better than I ever could have hoped for there. Down the inside, we'll go on the exit, we'll get the power down. Alonso is still closing in on the pair of us here, but with just a lap and a half to go, will Verstappen be able to come back at me once more? I mean, Max knows he's got to wait for that DRS straight. There's no point going for it before there. May as well claim that little bit of extra pace, otherwise he knows we are going to be too quick in a straight line to really allow him to do anything. We are, though, going to try and bait him. We're going to let him get alongside me, lose all of that extra speed he'll get, and then drain our battery back down towards someone. They're still wheel-to-wheel will go with the Dutchman. It's a battle on the brakes, but we lock up slightly down at turn 1 there. Verstappen will make the move work actually quite easily in the end. Will we be able to get the run back up in towards turn 4 there? Once more, we're going to have to drain the battery. We're still fine on fuel, as you can see. Verstappen having to just save a little bit down the inside. We'll go. We send it. We keep it between the white lines there, and that is a Max Verstappen dive bomb. If ever I've seen one. There was no contact made. We stay between the white lines. Mark loving it, but I'm sure the Dutchman hating that on the final lap of this Grand Prix there. And have we just mugged him off? And maybe now we can try and look towards the checkered flag here, but we know there's still one more DRS zone to go. It's not a particularly major one, but it could still be useful for him there. But Verstappen, he hasn't got enough. I think he drained all of his battery back down towards turn 4 there, but we sent it in out of absolutely nowhere. The confetti's flying here in Mexico City, despite the contact, despite the carnage with our teammate through the final corner. Back-to-back wins. We take the dub in Mexico.
Yes, yes, guys, yes! Come on, boys!
That's a spectacular victory then, and with it, the championship is secure. It's been a magnificent season, and they thoroughly deserve the cheers of the crowd here today.
And that's 2 wins in a row now. It's the start of potentially something special, but they can't get ahead of themselves just yet. It's a long way to go.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Mexican Grand Prix and late race drama. 3 cars covered by less than a second come the checkered flag, but we make it back-to-back victories towards the end of the year, and we once again take points out of Charles Leclerc there. Alonso comes through for P3 ahead of Hamilton, Norris, and then our teammate there with Albon, Gasly, Stroll and Hülkenberg. Is that Haas' first double points finish of the year? I don't quite know. Behrman very unlucky to finish P11 in the end, once more finishing just outside of the points ahead of Daniel Ricciardo there and Oscar Piastri, with just Tsunoda and Perez failing to see the checkered flag. That means championship-wise, the gap at the top cut back down to just 94 between Leclerc and Verstappen. We have cut down the gap to the Dutchman, though, to just 21 points there, and we're almost safe entirely from Lando Norris behind us, who once again will leapfrog George Russell. Further down, Gasly still in P12, but yeah, that gap to Lance Stroll is coming down every single weekend, and Hülkenberg as well, with a couple of extra points on the board, will bring him a bit closer to Yuki Tsunoda as well. Constructors-wise, though, Ferrari have done it. Their first Constructors' Championship since 2008, almost 20 years of waiting, but we are finally back on top in the F1 world. Their 278-point lead over Red Bull with just a handful of races to go, and I'll be honest, I'm happy I took the win to guarantee it there when all is said and done. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed it, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back very soon when Formula 1 returns ready for the Brazilian Grand Prix.